What is going on, guys? Chris here. Welcome back to another video. So we had a bit of news that just dropped within the past few hours. While I was watching Friday Fortnite, which PewDiePie played with Ninja, I already talked about that in a previous video, but Optic Gaming was officially sold to Immortals. So Immortals complete the Infinite buyout, which was majority owner of Optic Gaming. So if you guys don't really understand really what happened, I'm going to try and lay it out in ways that people that aren't into, the purchasing and majorities and all this stuff can understand. So as of a little while ago, like a year or so ago, when the original buyout did happen, Infinite eSports purchased a majority of Optic Gaming. So at the time, Hex was just, I wouldn't say stressed, but he was just kind of over the day-to-day responsibilities of just running an org. He wanted to create content. He wanted to do all these things. So they made a deal with Infinite Esports. Infinite Esports, as well as Optic J, as you guys are aware, he's getting a lot of hate for this whole deal and the way it's being done in general, mostly because in podcasts and vocally what Hex has talked about is that, he took some time away. I don't know exactly how much time it was away during that sale of the company. So during the selling of the majority to Infinite Esports, Hex took some time away. Upon, he visited family, he made content, whatever he did for a little bit. And when he came back, he saw how bad Optic Gaming was being ran, and he was obviously very upset. So he tried to get a foothold in making decisions, and he quickly realized that he did not have as much of a say as maybe he thought he was going to. So Optic Hex, Hector Rodriguez, comes back, and he basically realizes he doesn't get to make much of the decisions anymore, which is why way back in the past, I think there was already a concern that, Call of Duty, the Green Wall, the whole Optic gaming that we've known was going to go away a long time ago. It didn't, obviously. And so what's interesting about Immortals buying out Infinite is, first of all, they have to pay back the 90% of what they owe to Hex or whoever sold the original buyout. They have to pay that because it's still owed from the original deal, right? And for cash and equity, Immortals purchased Infinite Esports for somewhere between $35 and $45 million. It was reported by ESPN. All of the things I'll bring up here are from Dexerto. So it says, with the deal done, Immortals Gaming Club will also control Optic Gaming, their League of Legends spot. They will have to immediately sell the Houston Outlaws Overwatch team because they already own the Los Angeles Valiant franchise in Overwatch, so they'll have to immediately sell that or put it up for sale. This was the part that they were talking about. The Immortals will have to complete the payments of Infinite's 2017 purchase of 90% of the company for a reported sum of $17 million. So it sounds like Hex and whoever else that were making the sale back in the day sold 90% to Infinite Esports, which I think is where Optic J comes from. So he's like the president of Infinite Esports. So that's why everyone's pissed right now, because from Hex's point of view, apparently he thought, even though he's selling 90%, that's basically to just have somebody take over the running of the company. And I'm assuming during their deals, there was probably talks about how, Hex would still have creative direction, the Call of Duty team wouldn't go anywhere, but now all of a sudden when Optic J is selling it, everything's up in the air. So let's see here. Usually, so when we didn't know about the percent, when we didn't know about the 90%, I'll basically break it down how this could happen to other teams, even if you don't sell majority. Like, let's say Hex only sold 40%, and then between him and Optic J, they owned majority. Let's say between the both of them, they owned 60%, okay? Usually what that means is you give board members or something like that, like a certain amount of votes, and then when an investor comes in, they get a vote as well. So if Optic J and Hex are on the same page. Obviously, their votes will always overrule any rule. So if Infinite Esports if Immortals, if they only sold 40% and they own 60 between Hex and Optic J, they would have 2 votes. Immortals would have 1. So they could maintain creative direction. They would have overall say with what happens. But usually, what you would do with an investor is you would offer them a first. There's a legal term for it. First right of refusal. So what that means is if in the future Hex and Optic J or Infinite Esports are looking to sell their majority, even like let's say they find a better deal right away, right after, and somebody wants to buy it for $600 million. Obviously that didn't happen, and that probably wouldn't happen considering market value of a team. It's probably going to be pretty consistent. Nobody would pay $45 million and then have someone else come in and pay $600. That doesn't make sense, but let's just say it did. You would give that first right of refusal to the investor, which means they have the right to basically veto or decide any sales of the company, who it's sold to, if it's sold at all. So they basically kind of have a say with shares. And when you offer that to an investor or a venture capitalist or a, whoever's buying or putting in money for the team, you basically just give that as a bargaining chip. Like you'll only get 1 vote, but you'll have this. So like it's in good faith. We're not going to sell it right away. But it appears that they sold 90%. So I was just giving you an example of how even if they didn't sell majority and Optic J decided to change his mind, this sale could still go through. But regardless, it went through anyway, so the fine details of it doesn't really matter. The Overwatch team has to go away. The Immortals now absorb the roster spot for League of Legends, and I'm pretty sure CSGO. So now it's up in the air as to what will happen with the Call of Duty team, what will happen with the content team, which I'll touch on in a few seconds here. It says Optic's minority owner and longtime CEO Hex reportedly met with the Immortals CEO in Frisco, Texas to discuss Rodriguez's potential involvement in Optic gaming franchise moving forward. On May 15th, the future of the CSGO roster is uncertain given the fact that the Immortals already own the MIBR Counter-Strike roster after purchasing the brand in 2018, so I guess it is up in the air what they will do with the CSGO roster. And at one point, it did appear Hex was trying to talk to certain people to maybe raise enough money to counterbid or to outbid Immortals for maintaining or getting majority back, or basically buying Infinite Esports back. But it appears it went through anyway. So if you go and look at Optic J's Twitter right now, it's full of hate. So there's a couple screenshots here of people being like, no, the Call of Duty roster is not going away. That would be dumb. It says in the Dexerto article that Optic Gaming, technically Immortals now, will be looking to purchase one of the Call of Duty League spots, so it's possible they stay. But in another bit of news, Big Timer, who has been a long-time content creator, player, etc., for Optic Gaming, announced, he's going to announce something. So people were like, is he going to 100 Thieves? Like, what's going on? And then he ended up announcing, it's funny. He announced a new team called Old Guard, which is OG, which is funny because it literally looks almost exactly like Optic Gaming. So it's basically the same way that the content team will stay together. So I think they were most unsure about the content team, Embos, Big Timer, anybody else that lived in the Optic house, all those people that do content for Optic Gaming, that was up in the air. So now that's solved. They got a team. It's all good. So either way, that's like the very basic details of what happened. They definitely want the League of Legends spot as the Immortals. CSGO roster is up in the air. Call of Duty team is, I don't know, they think it's going to be fine. They're going to purchase the spot. And Hex's involvement and the rest of the content creators' involvement will be up in the air as well. CSGO roster's up in the air. So either way, things are going to change. We'll see if it actually ends up staying the old Optic or if people move on. We'll never know. But either way, if you guys enjoyed that video, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I put out a video almost every day. I try to explain this in very basic terminology so that people who basically aren't in the realm of buying and trades and percentages and stuff can kind of understand it a little better. If what I said didn't make sense, just leave a comment down below. I'll try and explain it a little easier through text because I don't have a script here. I'm just basically talking about what I've seen. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe, share it with your friends, all the above, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.